I'm gonna stay on this side actually. But, well, I was thinking about when we met. I think I met you, I'm not sure, or maybe the second time was right here.
Yep.
And you ring swept.
Yep.
And I think that is in January.
Yes, it was.
You were receiving a tiny home, is that right?
Yep.
Well, let's just start there. Tell me about how that happened and just a tiny home. Like, how long did you wait? What was that process like?
Oh gosh. So I've lived in Seattle for 3 years, going on 4 now, and I've gone through about 12 different suites, including that one in January, and that was, about 3 years now, because that isn't offered in Tacoma. So, and that's where I come from, and so it's been about 3 years, and it was really disappointing because every sweep I was essentially promised or told that I was going to either be put in a tiny home or put in a motel/hotel until I get into a tiny home, and it never happened. It was really misleading and just like it ended up being really disheartening, and so when I finally got that tiny home, I didn't really believe it, honestly. Like, I thought it was just going to fall through again or it wasn't actually happening, but it was really awesome when it did actually happen, because I've been waiting for forever, but it was also a little bittersweet, seeing that we were the only ones who got put in the tiny home in this giant camp. There was, if I remember right, 64 tents once we got swept, and none of them got housing, but countless of them, I talked to them in the moment or afterwards, were told that they were going to get a tiny home. And so it's, like I said, it's a little bittersweet to see that them being disappointed and not getting that, but we did.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, why did you get a tiny home then?
I honestly don't know.
Just came up and
I think one of the things was who we were working with. Bruce. Yeah, we were kind of working with him. We signed some paperwork that he became our official caseworker or advocate.
Right.
And so I think that was an aspect of it. But also might have been because we were a couple. But also I've been on that list for years, like I said,
And at times I've heard couples who are, I don't know if you're married or not.
No.
You guys are married, but they're not allowed. There's different rules, it seems like, the different tiny homes. I'm not sure. Pets was a thing.
Well, I know that there's no explicit rule stating that no couples are allowed. I think it's just more of a preference thing because there's that whole issue if they do break up, what do you do, because you don't want to put them on the streets again, because they're not going to want to go back on the streets. They're going to want to be given another opportunity or another space, but they can't necessarily guarantee that.
Yeah, good point.
And so I think it's definitely kind of more of a preference thing, depending from tiny home to tiny home. But across the board, Lehigh has no rules or regulations stating no couples.
And you're still there.
Yep,
you're still there.
Still there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're out of. That was dead of winter.
It was.
And I'm glad you're out of the weather.
Right before that sweep too, about a month beforehand, we lost everything. Someone just came and took everything, including our tent. Yeah. And on his birthday, we were given a broken tent, and it rained, and then it froze, and we woke up my hair was frozen. I had a little layer of that frozen dew that's on the grass. Yeah, that was on me. And we went through that really, really bad cold snap.
That's
and
right.
we had a broken tent, barely any blankets. It was bad. It was bad because I don't have a lot of meat on my bones, and I'm anemic as well, and I have bad blood circulation. But even all that aside, it was not good conditions for anyone to be living outside or without heat. It's dangerous. It's why you hear about people dying outside in the cold every year, and it's really, really heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's true. Well, let's go back a little bit. I'd love to get to know you and your origin story. Tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised? And what was that like?
I was born and raised in Tacoma, Fife area. I unfortunately had a pretty rough childhood. I grew up homeless and out of foster care, experiencing physical abuse from my biological parents and from other foster parents. But yeah, like I said, I was in and out of foster homes. I was in 7 before I was 8. So from 2 months old till 8, I was put in 7 different foster homes. Sorry, it's loud.
Well, at 2 years old, somebody stepped in.
Well, I was 2 months old when I went to my first one.
That's what I mean. Someone stepped in and brought you to foster
Yeah,
care.
yeah, someone did. But it was unfortunate because I went back to my parents in between each foster home, but they were still, homeless and abusive alcoholics. So I don't understand why I was brought back to them, which I think experiencing that at such a young age definitely kind of paved a little bit of the path of the life that was ahead of me. But I definitely worked really hard to repave my own path, But so when I was 8, I was put in the last home. They ended up being my legally appointed guardians. My parents' rights were terminated, and I was I became a legal ward of the state.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't adopted, but I was just assigned a legal guardian. But since I wasn't adopted, when I was 14, they were legally allowed to just kick me out. And so I became because like I said, I was homeless when I was a little kid with my parents, but this time I was homeless on my own. And that was at 14.
So
12 years ago.
I can't put myself there. That's unimaginable to me. Like,
it was really hard.
Are you in survival mode? What's your emotional
Yeah,
state?
I was definitely in survival mode for many years. I'm still kind of in it now.
Of course.
It's going to take a long while for me to get out of it. But thankfully with this tiny home, I've seen, and I've noticed some aspects of it have kind of softened or, transformed into something else. Which, just having a bed and a roof that I know is going to be there that I can go back to, doesn't have heating or cooling. I don't care about that. I just care that I have a roof and a bed to go back to.
And you can close the door.
Yes, I can close the door. I can lock it. I know that no one's going to get into my stuff or it's going to get swept and taken away. I can actually hold on to things that are cherishable. I've lost everything throughout the years that once had meaning to me.
Yeah.
But now I can actually start, just having not necessarily just prized possessions, but meaningful things. And
matters.
Exactly, and know that it's going to be safe. And we just got a kitten too. I know that as I've wanted an animal for so long. I love animals. It's so nice to be able to take care of another life. It's been really good with my depression, my mental health, because I know if I'm not okay, I'm not going to be able to take care of this other life.
Yeah.
And when I brought that other life into my life, and I became their owner, their parent, I made that promise to them that they're always going to be okay. They're always going to be taken care of. And so it's I have to take care of myself in order to take care of them.
Incredibly therapeutic.
It is. It so is.
Yeah.
It's really taught me a lot of the meaning of just taking care of a living thing, be it myself or another one.
Yeah. Well, again, back to 14. I can't get that to picture that. I mean, you're 14. They kick you out.
Yeah.
And so where do you go? Couch surf, relatives, or just the streets? Or?
I couch surfed for a little bit at first, but I was really difficult, because I just had a lot of mental and emotional stuff going on. Yeah.
Trauma.
I had no idea how to deal with it. No one had any idea how to deal with me. And I mean, I understand. I look back and I'm like, holy crap, I was a handful. But it makes sense. I was just lashing out, and I was essentially just begging for help. But unfortunately, it wasn't answered, and it really sucked because when I got kicked out, and then who I was staying with at first, they as well just randomly turned their back on me. One day they were saying oh, we've got you, you'll stay here until you graduate high school. And then the next I got home, they changed the locks and they had all my stuff in trash bags on the front porch. So after that, I kind of just was on the streets, which was really difficult at 14. It was really difficult, and I was very insistent on still staying in school. I was really determined to graduate, which I did. I graduated while being homeless and juggling several jobs. I was really determined because no one in my bio family did. No one, I was told by several people that it was pointless, I shouldn't bother, but that's that little badge of honor that I have, I did it.
And I'm curious why you're going to school. Did you have other people, teachers, anyone know your circumstance? Did anyone else know?
I'm assuming that they caught on. I never really told them just because it's kind of an pride, honor sort of thing.
Well,
but
I can only imagine it's just you wouldn't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
There's shame. There's,
I mean, and everyone I've ever tried to get help from has just turned their back on me or only hurt me.
and so you just stopped talking to people.
I stopped asking for help. I stopped telling people things because it would be used against me.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely caught on, you know, especially when I was coming to school in dirty clothes and losing weight rapidly. Like, I would have teachers that would weekly, they'd give me like a bag of clothes or some food, like
without saying it.
Yep, without saying it, which was really awesome of them, because that would have just made me like go even more into my cocoon.
Like if they said something.
Yep, if they had said something, or like especially in front of the class or just to me alone, it would have just made it even worse.
Yeah.
Like I probably would have ran away, honestly, like because that was one of my MOs. Like my whole life is just running away from the problem.
Yeah. And so you're 14, you make it through high school.
Yep.
And you graduate.
Yep.
And you're homeless.
Yes.
It's like, what's the next thing?
Honestly,
how did you survive?
Getting in the tiny home has definitely helped a lot with me being able to look towards the future.
Yeah. Because
I kind of lost that ability, that drive, you know, to aim towards the future, to have like a purpose, really, you know, and just especially since we just did our first like application for an apartment, like we might be getting an apartment, like that's awesome, you know, having like an actual stable permanent like place that's ours. That's going to be so great. But lately I've been thinking about it, like I really want to go back to school. Like I really loved school. I loved learning. I was really good at it too. Like I was in calculus when I was in 9th grade. Like that's a college level math. Like, because like I reverted to books when like my whole life. It was like my escape. I still love books. I never will not like books. But I definitely want to go back to school. I think that'd be awesome.
Yes.
And like, because I know that I'm capable of it. I can do it. You know. I know I can, and I'm young enough still that I can still change the trajectory of my life.
Yes. I mean, if you survived and were out there at 14, I think you could do school, college.
I think I can do that too, you're right.
That's amazing.
It's like the least of my struggles.
Yeah. So, are you alluding to before you got the tiny home, you kind of just like given up?
Yeah, not like fully given up. Like I still made sure I was clean and took care of myself, but it was just like that endless that wheel, you know, just that endless cycle of just wake up, do what I do every day, maybe sleep. You know, like I didn't have a purpose, something I was living or working towards, and it's really easy to get into that mindset actually, because with the, you know, like I was saying, with the whole with like being promised something and it not happening, and just being like swept, and just being like all that progress and that growth that you thought you made just being taken away in like an hour period, like it literally makes you lose your drive, makes you lose your whole like purpose. Honestly, it's sad.
Would you call that like a state of hopelessness?
Yes, that's plain and simple what it is, a state of hopelessness, a perpetual state of hopelessness.
Right, and just get it right. You get
and
that
it
cycle.
gets worse and worse every day.
Gosh, I was going to ask you a question. Were you ever working, like have a job during this time? Yeah, tell me about that, because I think I recall I met you the first time and you said, I think I have to go to work, but I'll be back in that tent possibly. I could be mistaken.
That wasn't like an actual job.
Okay,
that
gotcha.
was more like I gotta, just kind of like hustle a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I have had jobs. Honestly, I had multiple jobs from the time that I was 15. Like I was paid under the table because you can't legally work until you're 16 in this country. But a restaurant took pity on me. You know, they let me wash the dishes and just kind of paid me under the table. I won't name the restaurant, but for the most part, I had at least 2, sometimes 3 jobs while I was, homeless and going to school. But like, in all honesty, having a job or being at school helped a lot, because I was indoors. I had some food I could have. I had heat, and it was honestly like a reprieve, and then it just kind of stalled me having to go back out there.
Yeah.
But it was hard. Like I would work, like have a job before school. I'd be like a lifeguard, so I'd wake up at 3:00, work until 7, go to school, and then I would get out of school early, go to my second job actually at like 2 o'clock, from 2 to 6, and then from 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Like it was, but it was necessary, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine just having a place in that drive or motivation or someone to be also get your mind off of the reality.
That's exactly what it was. And it's like I needed those jobs because, especially being like young and out there on my own, a lot of people were trying to pressure me or force me into the sex business, and I refused.
Yeah.
I absolutely refused. I still to this day, I've never done that.
Well,
and not that I'm, bashing on it. It's just it's not me.
Right.
That's not me, and I'm never going to. That's never going to be me.
So I'm curious. That's a very you're so vulnerable at 14.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Like, can you walk me through like how they tried to do that?
They would. So sometimes they would like try and become close to me, try and be my friend. There was this one person who I thought was my friend. He got me hooked on some like drugs, and he was having it supplied to me, and then he took it away from me. And he said if I wanted it, that I had to fulfill these requirements, which was, working for him as a working girl. And I was 15 at that time.
Wow.
Yeah. So like even if I wanted to, like legally, I was a minor. Plain and simple, I was a minor, and he was trying to force me to do that.
Yeah, you're a
like,
child.
Exactly, I'm a child. And I said no. I went through that suffering of, like going without the substance. And
or you just went through the withdrawals and like.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because like I said, I refuse. Like I've always been really stubborn my whole life. Like if I put my mind to something, I'm gonna accomplish it. Like I've been vegetarian for 20 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, since I was 6 years old, I made the decision myself. And even being out here on the streets, I'm
Still
still
vegetarian.
Yep, I'm still vegetarian.
Great.
Still vegetarian. Like I said, I put my mind to it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, I think because people don't understand. Again, this is an opportunity for someone to say who's lived it. Like I was out there at 15, and this is how someone tried to entrap me into this sex trade and like traffic me.
Yeah.
And like, thank God you like said no, and like didn't fall or get into that.
I very easily could have.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the other women that I had around me, like they were trying to protect me, especially older women, or try to befriend me. It was sad seeing them fall to it, but I think that was another reason why I was so determined not to, because seeing them fall victim to it and what it was doing to both their mind and their body, I was determined not to.
And they were in it at the same time protecting you from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I'm very grateful for those women.
Wow.
Because, like you said, being so vulnerable and at that age,
So vulnerable.
And it's always the people who are trying to do that to you that you least expect. Like sometimes it was women that were trying to traffic me. And I mean, still to this day, I have people trying, because I live on Aurora now, with a tiny home, and I still have people. Some people are a lot more aggressive than others, and it's hard to fathom, and it's sometimes I get that like those memories of being like 10 years younger and going through that, it's crazy that I've been going through it for so long.
Yeah.
I can hardly, because I'm 26 now, that's half of my life that I've been homeless. Even more if I include when I was a child.
Right.
But it's, like I said, with the tiny home though, it's really helped me resolve my, reignite my resolve to actually look towards the future. And I don't know, I've definitely noticed a change. I have. My confidence is back. I don't know, I'm a lot happier, I'm less stressed, more confident,
My guess is you are, I don't know, could not be, but are you getting a decent night's sleep?
Yes. And I have a
huge.
shower I can use and wash my clothes.
Yes, totally.
It makes a world of difference. Just the simple thing of having a bed and having a roof, a door, and a shower. That changes everything.
Yep.
It really does.
Yep.
It changes every aspect.
Right. And then you have that stability at least. Then you can maybe start working on a different part of life.
That's just the foundation of the life that I'm trying to build for myself from here.
Right. Man, wild. Well, let's see. And last time I saw you was at the Commons. Tell me about the Aurora Commons. Why do you go there?
I go there sometimes just to like, I don't know, honestly, I go there sometimes because it's nice to go there, like, just kind of like going down here, you know, like, yeah, I'm in the tiny home now and I'm on that road, but I also feel not really obligated, but still connected to the people out here because I spent so long with them. I spent so, like I still am one of the people out here, you know?
Community.
Exactly. These are my people. This is my community. And sometimes, like, spending so much time with, like, because you know how you're saying the us and them, you know, sometimes spending time with those who aren't out, like, from out here, it can really get me, like, angry sometimes, like, kind of a little worked up, like, because, like, you know, I take care of myself, you know, I try and make sure my appearance is nice, and that's not for other people, that's for me, you know, that's for me. But there's been times I'm in the grocery store or something, and someone in front of me will start talking about, oh, those dirty homeless people, they're pests and rodents, and we should get an exterminator for them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you do realize that you're saying that to a homeless person, right? Like, that's, and like just hearing what like some people say and how they feel and how like their actions, like it gets me really frustrated sometimes.
What does it feel like?
Like, not, it's, I don't want to say hate because I don't hate them, but it makes me angry knowing that they hate us for no reason.
I mean, it sounds incredibly just hurtful.
It is. It is. It hurts. Like it's one of those like wounds that you almost can't heal. Like knowing that someone thinks that you're a vermin or like a rodent, like a rat that should be exterminated. Like, I'm a human. Like, I'm just like your daughter or your you know, like I'm the exact same. The only difference is that my circumstances were not the same. Whoop.
This kind of leads me to my next question. That I like to ask, is there anything you would want the people of Seattle to know?
Yeah, just that like I said, there is no us and them. Like, we are an us. We're all the same. Like, it's just, I feel like people should definitely be more understanding and just more open-minded to the fact that some people don't come from the same background. People aren't dealt the same, you know, like card hand or whatever they say. Like, I was given a certain like foundation and it led me to this point in my life, but that does not make me less than or less valuable or worthy or like human than people that were given a good opportunity or good background. Like, I think we all should be just more kind, understanding, open-minded, and we all deserve the same basic necessities that are needed to live. Like, just because, you know, we're out on the streets and yeah, some people do drugs, but like, think about it. It's rough. Like, how could I go 12 years going through this and not try and find something to numb the pain?
That's right.
Like, there needs to be something to deal with it, and unfortunately you turn to substances because that's the only thing you can turn to. I don't have therapy. Right. I don't have counseling. Like,
you're coping in this way.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've talked to a lot of folks and I go, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Like, I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do. Aside from that, we're talking illegal drugs. There's plenty of legal drugs.
Oh, there's plenty.
That housed people cope with.
That's what I always
say. And all
say.
kinds of things people cope with.
You're in your mansion kicking back, like with your prescription pills and your wine and
stuff. I'm
stuff.
Go powder my nose.
Yeah,
like you were talking about earlier.
We were talking about earlier.
It's just like,
exactly.
And so when I hear people are, you know, coping with illegal substances, I'm like, I could care less. Like,
everyone has a vice.
Yes.
Everyone, like, literally, sugar is a drug. Food is a drug.
Oh,
like caffeine.
Video games, sex.
Video game, exactly.
I mean, there are, granted, like, you know, fentanyl, like, incredibly dangerous.
It
like,
is.
You can die. You know, alcohol's dangerous too.
You can die from alcohol.
Yes, but it's like, my guess is
to a different degree.
You've seen a lot more, you know, of that than my guess is the average person.
Yeah. Which, I mean, obviously you can't change people. You can't force people to do something you want them to do if they don't.
That's right.
But I try and play my part by I always carry multiple like Narcans on me, multiple different kinds. Like whenever I see people like flailed out, you know, just like laid out in like an uncomfortable position, or like a lot of people will be like, oh my God, they look like they're dead. I always take the time out of my day to like shake them awake, make sure they're okay. Like, and like a lot of times too, like people will come and they'll steal their things. And so I'll wake them up and I'll be like, hey, get your stuff together, put it in your pockets, put it in your bag, put it under your head or something. Like, here's a better spot for you to lay down. Like, it's simple. It's like a 5-minute, like, to get them comfortable, make sure they're okay and they're breathing, or Narcan them if you need to. Like I said, you can't make them stop, but the least you can do is make sure they're safe. You know?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah,
it's good to talk to you and finally catch up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's good to hear your voice. Awesome.
I was saying, it's good to finally officially do this.
Open for a hug.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have 8 and 10-year-old girls.